Okay, so we're talking about interactions with other people and how we gauge these interactions. And there's a lot of different levels we can go on. We can go, how is our emotional connection? How is our emotional relationship? Fourth chakra, feels. How do I feel about the person? How do they make me feel? When I'm around them, I feel really good. Like kind of excited or awkward or whatever the thing is, right? That would be like fourth chakra and below. How my body feels, the physical feelings, the pheromones, maybe, first chakra, and then whether we were attracted to them, first chakra. The things that are unconscious are all first chakra. The things we don't choose but happen anyway, that's first chakra stuff. That actually goes all the way kind of up through heart, except for willpower. But that is applying willpower, not cognizing where the willpower is going. So that's like assessing how strong someone is in terms of being able to focus their attention and make something happen. This would be like third chakra, second, third. I'm thinking second might be kind of umbilical cord, sustenance related, nurturing, and things like that, like nurturement kind of things, the things that form us. And then those things are formed around our essential needs, motivations, which would be survival, having sex and reproducing, these but it's not about having sex, it's about the attraction to have sex. The thing that motivates us is the actual first chakra aspect. It's not the goal. It's the motivating force. So first chakra motivations would be then hunger or things that, along that line. And hunger can be for drugs, it can be for attention, it can be for any number of things. It's the hunger itself that there's a lack and that we're driven to fill that lack. That's first chakra. So addictions are a first chakra relationship on that level. Good examples. Second chakra, nurturing, nurturement, but that also means sloth and laziness, and these would be extremes in second chakra imbalance, where nurturing becomes something that coddles us and makes us weak and slovenly, unable to manage for ourselves and clean up after ourselves, these types of things. Then third chakra would be willpower. So then that would be, how well can I apply to a task and get that task done? Can I apply myself? Do I have a weak willpower? Am I a slave to my addictions? Can I regulate and manage them? That's the willpower stuff. Whether or not we think about it then that's more higher chakra stuff. So then fourth chakra would then be emotional fulfillment, and that would be love, family, from kind of child parent, then we're going into kind of like peer respect, like love, not condescending love. And I don't mean condescending in a negative connotation manner. I mean it in a scientific manner, like looking at something that we are shepherding that is not able to shepherd itself. And so we have to do it. That's a different relationship of love than, say, that the child has for a parent, which is trust and faith-based. I'm trusting you because you're the one taking care of me, so I'm going to assume that you're trying to help me to do it well, and I don't really have much of a choice. So just on faith, hopefully you're not trying to fuck me up. But it's a different type of love. It's a faith-based love. I love you, and then as you do things to me that are cruel or mean or don't make sense to me and hurt me, then that love becomes battered and twisted. But I will always love you ultimately because you are where I came from out of. Like, I'm you in the world in a new body. So, and I recognize this implicitly. You created me, so for me to, like God, to look at God and then be like, wow, you just caused plagues to happen and wars, and and you came out and said that you wanted to do this, and you wanted us to do this for there to be mayhem and all this stuff, or you're just letting us know this is what's going to happen as a result of your arrogance. How we look at God, I think, makes a big difference in how we interpret the events of the world. But that's more 5th chakra and 6th chakra stuff. So like 4th chakra, family, love, union, oneness with other beings through the heart, and heart-based relationships, heart harmonic relationships, which basically the words are pretty arbitrary when it comes to these types of relationships. It's a feeling thing, but not just a feeling thing like I sense it, like a feeling from the inside out. And it's contiguous, and we're sharing this feeling. That's 4th chakra. It's like being the ocean with someone else, but different parts of the same ocean. You feel the substance of that relationship in your cells, in the air around you, like how the aura that you're in, that field. You can feel that. You feel it. That's why they call it a field. But 5th chakra, then we get into verbal relationships, articulation, negotiation, contracts, and being able to manage will through the use of diction, or wards, WARDS. And they don't call it spelling for nothing, right? So when we get into articulation and spelling, how we articulate denotes how the energy is channeled, like a microchip has specific pathways and goes through certain capacitors and or transistors. It's just putting energy, raw energy, through different regulating forms that then adjust the shape of the energy to be a certain shape. And then when it's in a certain shape, we can fit it into other things, and it will cause them to generate, like it'll trip things along the way. And I'm not sure exactly how. It just seems like they use it to harmonically resonate other, like sound and things like this, or light beams or something like that. That it's just like changing the energy to say something or do a series of actions, like a course. And then by doing the course, it's like mousetrap, and every time it goes through a transistor or it goes and hits a thing, that causes something to happen, I guess, at certain points. And then it trips the thing, and the bucket of water falls. Like, it's hard for me to cognize how exactly energy is being harnessed. But that we get into 5th chakra stuff with electronics and articulation. And taking the earth and the resources, or the things here, even calling them resources is kind of deceiving. Sources, these are the source. These are the source of everything, and we are basically picking and mining into it, taking out bits and pieces that we like, and then making them into plastic things and airplanes that bomb people and cell phones and things like this. Some of these things are arguably very useful. Whether the trade is worth it depends, I guess, on what we're about to hit next. But we're not going to know that until we get there. So if it does turn out that we've been depleting the resources at a rate that is unsustainable and actually cannot be sustained anymore, like let's say tomorrow, well, let's say a year ago, then what? You can only hold up excess with excess for so long before it falls in on itself. But that's a whole different discussion. So, okay, we're talking about, that's getting into global relationships around didactics, like the UN, the charters, the constitutions, how those all interact with one another and dictate our lifestyles and what's like legal stuff. The whole legal system is based on spelling. And who has the right didactics, the correct semantics through which they can reinforce their right to XYZ. Because we have to prove our righteousness before we are given the responsibility. It's an interesting one. That's how our system works. So, that's fifth chakra. Being in love, sapiosexual, sapiophile, someone that falls in love with someone else's mind. Then we're getting into sixth chakra. So, articulation is one thing, but to understand the context of the articulation is a completely different thing, and much preferable. You want to know both, of course. You can't really get into one without having the context of specific instances. But that being said, let's say sixth chakra, third eye, focus beyond the physical senses. That's mental. That's conceptualized thought. That's the ability to conceive of a thing. Not just rearrange things that we've heard before, or that ideas that have been given to us before. So someone says putting wheels on the back of this thing will help it to go forward. Well, if I move the wheels to the front, then maybe that'll help it go forward better. But then that's fifth chakra. Moving around parts that are already there. Sixth chakra is looking at the thing and realizing that if the wheels were round instead of square, and you put 4 of them on, or added one in the middle in the back,